This is my Star Wars The Last Jedi review and another angry rant. I'm Johnny Massacre and welcome to my channel. I can't believe I was suckered into seeing this movie. I cannot believe it. Got all dressed up in the dark side, my inner fanboy coming out. I just can't separate that nostalgia from myself. I can't get rid of it. It just keeps me coming back for more. Disney, they got me hooked. Motherfuckers. Go and check out my Force Awakens review from a couple of years ago now. Another very angry rant. Okay, so where to start? Where to fucking start with this film? First off, I knew it was going to get good reviews. I think it's doing quite well on Metacritic. You can't trust any reviews anymore because it's all journalists who get invited to the premiere, and if they don't give it a good review, they don't get an invitation, so they like to keep it cushy with Disney and their PRs. Now, straight off the bat, let me get something off my chest. The Force Awakens movie, we knew Luke Skywalker was in it because he's in the fucking misleading trailer, and they put him in right at the end, and you just saw his face for like 5 seconds. So I sat through that whole fucking piece of shit, and you didn't even give me what was alluded to being in the film in the trailer. And now I've waited another 2 years to see fucking Skywalker. And what? He doesn't even fight in this movie. Luke Skywalker doesn't fight in this movie. Who the fuck is making this fucking film? Seriously. Even if you weren't a Star Wars fan, after watching the original 3, 4, 5 and 6, and you were involved in the production of this movie or the script or the directing or any of those, you would put Luke fucking Skywalker fucking fighting. Why wouldn't you? For fuck's sake. There's like a whole generation of men who grew up idolizing Luke Skywalker, and they love the battle scene. Without that fucking battle scene between Darth Vader on Empire Strikes Back and on Return of the Jedi, you wouldn't even have a fucking Star Wars. That's like the defining point. That's the clash of good and evil. That's the big fucking bang of Hollywood. And you don't put Luke Skywalker fighting in this movie. I could end this rant right there, because that says it all about how misguided this fucking film is and how wrong they fucking got it. Okay, so it opens up. So it opens up with a battle in space. It's completely throwaway. The first 10 minutes you don't even need. And I hate it when movies do this. They start full steam ahead immediately, and you just don't care what's going on. It's really overwhelming, and none of the characters have been developed yet. So you're just watching all this eye candy with no meaning, no weight, or nothing, no base, nothing underneath it to support it or make you give a fuck about it. And that's what happens in this movie. So there's a space battle I couldn't give two shits about. And then Finn like wakes up. He's fucked up, and he wakes up, and then there's this really cringy comedy moment where he's got all these tubes hanging off him and there's water spraying everywhere, and it's not funny. So the film started off really poorly there. Then we go to the fucking island with Luke Skywalker, and that's what you want to see. Everyone wants to see Luke. Everyone wants to see him continue the struggle. I'm pleased to say that Mark Hamill did a pretty fucking good job. He seemed like he was still the same character from the original films. So hats off to him there, because I mean, how long has it been? Like 40 fucking years. So he picked up where he left off as well as he could. And then they're on this fucking island, and it's basically a really bad reinterpretation of Empire Strikes Back, where Luke is stranded on that planet where he meets Yoda, and Yoda trains him. But oh man, Rey's training, like the original, like Empire Strikes Back, this is one of the main continuity errors in the original Star Wars, because it's not clear how long he's on that island for with Yoda training. But I was reading online, and some nerds worked it out, and apparently it couldn't be more than 3 weeks or something. And so when he went on the island, he'd only picked up a lightsaber once on New Hope, and he had his helmet on, and Ben, Obi-Wan, was like, yeah, come on, mate, hit these lasers coming at you when you're blind and use the Force? And he's like, oh, you hit one. And Han Solo's like, yeah, that's just luck. So that's pretty much the only training he'd had, which is nothing. It's about an hour of training or something. And then within 3 weeks, he becomes powerful enough to challenge Darth Vader, which is fucking stupid. Now, in Force Awakens, Rey, I've been to this on my video, check it out in the link below. Rey, so I'm not going to go into it too much detail, but Rey basically defeats Kylo Ren, who this movie proves, The Last Jedi, is a whisker away from completing his Force fucking training, because in this Snoke says, now I will complete your training. You just have to kill Rey, I believe. So that's, all he has to do is kill. He doesn't even have to do anything. It's just, you know, it's a mental hurdle. He just has to get over being able to kill someone close to him. And then he's a Jedi Master. So he's mastered everything else. He's mastered the fucking Force choke, Force push, all that shit, lightning probably. So in that Force Awakens, Rey beats him and she's never had any training. Now, in this one, Last Jedi, she becomes a fucking amazing Jedi Master with like no training at all. It's way less than even Force Awakens. And it's funny because at the beginning of this film, Last Jedi, they do allude to the fact that she had a battle with Kylo Ren and held her own with basically no training. They actually said that, and I was really pleased when I saw that. So at least you alluded to it. Snoke said that. He's basically saying, look how powerful she is. She battled you, and basically he's mocking Kylo Ren, trying to rile him into action for his plan that ends up as a plot twist later. So he says to Kylo Ren, oh, you were beaten by a girl, this bird, who doesn't have any training. So, okay, at least they acknowledged it. So I thought, from there, they're then going to go on to explain that she's the most Force-sensitive person ever and really flesh out why she's done all this shit and the Jedi mind trick with no fucking training. Surely it can't be that you're running roughshod over the Star Wars legacy by just enabling this Mary Sue to do any Jedi tricks just because, oh, she's a woman and, you know, women have to be portrayed as invincible. Let's infantilize women and give them a leg up when they don't need it. They don't need it anyways. They're strong enough to stand on their own. Oh my God. But then, in the movie, they don't allude to that ever again. So someone just must have penned it into the script right at the end. Yeah, well, she did battle Kylo Ren. How can we smooth that out? Oh, with one lazy-ass line of dialogue. Because you can't smooth it out because it's badly written. It's a badly written script. Fuck's sake. So then, they're on this fucking island. So, of course, it's cutting between various stories. And the other ones I'll get into in a minute. But when it cuts back to, as Star Wars tends to do, there's usually like 2 or 3... there's like a main plot and a few subplots running along in tandem. You know, lots of good movies and good books do that, but this is not a good movie. And so, Rey's training. There is no fucking training, you wankers. So you had a chance to at least make up for the first film where you don't explain how Rey can do all these Force powers. You don't explain it in this film. Well, you might as well, okay, just now let's do it right. We can't explain why she's has all these Force powers or knows these Force powers, but now let's explain how she becomes a Jedi Master. Her training consists of Luke saying, close your eyes and reach out. And then she closes her eyes and she basically understands what the Force is. 1. The second bit of training is like, I mean, it's so glossed over and doesn't impact the storyline at all. I can't even remember what the fuck it was. But she's basically, she's wielding her weapon and then she gets the lightsaber and she's like wielding it and doing all these moves. But she's never been taught to use a lightsaber. And Luke's looking at her going, oh, like she's good at using a lightsaber. Why don't you just fucking show Luke Skywalker, the iconic hero of Star Wars, just training her in battle? How fucking hard is that? That's timeless. From fucking ninjas to cowboys and all that shit. People like seeing a bit of battle and a bit of training. No, lazy wankers. So then the movie, where it really, really started to fuck up until this point, I was still kind of enjoying it. Then there's the story arc of Finn. And he is going to shut down some tracking device on the Sith ship. I think that's what he's trying to do. I mean, it doesn't fucking matter because it's a load of bollocks anyway. It's not interesting. But they have some advantage and he meets this engineer who knows how to stop this advantage that the Sith have, or the First Order. And so they band together to go to disable something in one of the main ships, because he has the knowledge about it, and she has the know-how to make it happen because she's an engineer. And this whole fucking, the way this starts, this is when the SJW fucking Disney propaganda comes in. Now, I really don't want to talk about this shit because I'm tired of talking about this. I'm not interested in politics. People whining about politics all the time. I'll tell you why, because I'm not left-wing or right-wing, but I'm just sick of watching right-wingers and left-wingers always battle and moan and just be miserable about the president or whatever, when really it's not affecting anyone's life, and we're all the masters of our own destiny. And what I mean by this, why I'm telling this, is because entertainment should be entertainment. Like, politics is pretty miserable generally. When is it like, yay, you get to watch some politics? But now politics is just creeping like a cancer into every fucking form of media. You know, like, I can't listen to a song or watch a movie or like without something being politicized, and it's just so tiresome. I don't want to see someone's sneaky political agenda putting it into movies. Now, Finn meets this woman on the ship, this incredibly diverse ship. It's like the most diverse ship ever. There's like women, men, black, Chinese, and like, it's just everyone. It's the future's super diverse. I mean, that's fine. I mean, what's wrong with that? If people are equal, fine. But don't try to make women as men, like give a woman male traits, because it's not interesting. What makes movies interesting is the dynamic between men and women, the relationships they have, the contrast they have, because we're different, we have different DNA. And there's all this like liberal ideology recently where it's like everyone's the same and like gender's like fluid and all this kind of stuff. Okay, that's fine. You can believe that, and that's your theory, and I respect that, but don't put it into a movie just to politicize it. And that's what they did. So the person he meets is this woman, and she's like, I work behind the pipe. So this is the whole kind of stem cell science or engineers, like we need more women in those roles. So they put them straight in there. And how do I know this is true? How do I know they just didn't cast her because she was a good actress? Because the entire First Order is all white males. And I know that the leftist politics right now is obsessed with gender. They weaponize gender because it's part of their political campaign. That's how they try to appeal to voters. And it's pathetic. I think it's divisive. And it puts people against each other. And it makes people obsessed with, like, I'm even talking about it now because you're making it divisive. If your movie's truly about equality and diversity, why isn't the First Order, why isn't it like full of like white, black and Asian people and like women and men? Why is it all male? And then, sorry to sidetrack, on the ship they really make a point of putting loads of female people in charge of like some of the fighter pilots and commanding the ship, which is fine if they come across as good commanders, but half of them just walk around like kind of vegan soy girls, like just flitting around in these kind of flowing gowns. It doesn't make sense. You're trying to put like a male character as a female and get her to play a man. It's just confusing. So you've got this woman who's like the engineer, and she's also she's like a bodyguard. She basically zaps Finn and takes him out. So an engineer is also doubles as someone who can take him out, which is also the problem with the first film, that Rey's and Mary sue because, oh, we can't say anything bad about women. But by doing that and giving women special treatment, that's not about equality. That's saying, oh, you're pathetic in some way and you need a leg up. She should be able to convince me on merit and from her acting skills that she's a boss. And those characters didn't. And you can see it's put in there because Disney is absolute left. And it's just so tiresome, you know? It's so fucking tiresome. So anyways, so Finn meets this girl, and then that really just took me out of the film. I'm like, man, why am I watching this agenda's bullshit? And then they go on this huge mission to like do this crap, and they go to this planet with like a casino and stuff. And hang on a minute. So the reason that Finn and this woman are able to go and do this is complete chance. Like, Finn is going to escape the ship and he just bumps into this woman. Oh, hey, how are you? And he's escaping, and she's saying, ironically, oh, no, some of these arseholes came in to escape and I stunned them, but you're the famous Finn. Oh, you're awesome. And actually he's trying to escape. When she finds out, she takes him out, and then when he wakes up and she's taking him to be sentenced to a crime, then they basically realize that, oh, she has the know-how to stop this like warp speed sensor, and he knows like where it is, and it's that chance meeting enables them to become buddies and go on this mission together. Like, come on, man, that's such lazy plot writing, and that happens a lot throughout this movie. It reminds me of Force Awakens when they're going to blow up the Death Star. And it's like, hey, what are we going to do? Oh, let's just do this. Oh, I know how to do it. Oh, fuck off, guys. So anyways, they go to this casino planet. And then they get captured and they're in a jail cell. And then the same thing happens to advance the plot. I think it's Benicio del Toro. He's by far and away the best actor in this movie. They're talking about how to escape. And this guy in the cell's like, I know how to escape. And then they're like, how? And he's like, you lazy wankers. Okay, scriptwriters, so they're in jail. How can they get out? I know. There's a man in the jail and he knows how to get out. So he helps them escape. And the casino is just a rip-off of the cantina scene on Tatooine. It's like loads of crazy aliens and crazy music and stuff. And it's, you know, CGI wank fest, really, really dull. And then it starts just deteriorating. Then they're like riding these like alien furry horsey dinosaur things that were racing like greyhounds, and all the casino people were betting on it. And they're like running away on those, and then it's like, okay, you just want to put some CGI in here. Let's check the boxes because we got to do that because people are going to like the movie. I'm just at a loss. I don't give a fuck about CGI if the story's not interesting. So then the other plot line is there's a bunch of people, rebels, trapped on this ship, and there's like a huge Star Destroyer, and it's just melting, like shooting down and draining the force field. And the guy near the beginning of the movie, they're like, okay, they can't get away because they can track them with hyperspace. They got this new technology, which is the whole crux of like why the First Order are kicking ass in this. It's never been seen in Star Wars before, and so they're just pummeling them with laser, and they know that they can't escape. And so they're just going to keep pummeling them until the shields are all the way down and they can blow them up. And Princess Leia is on that ship. And then on that ship is Poe, like the new fighter guy. And it's like everyone's a woman. There's so many women there. And it's an alternate universe, so it doesn't have to be male dominated. So that's fine. But the women you cast have to be able to play the roles well. So you've got one fighter pilot. There's a female fighter pilot. And she's so deadpan. She's just like, oh, okay, we're going to go into space. And mate, if you're a fighter pilot, you'd be like, come on, let's fucking do it. Let's get out there. Let's fuck these guys up. I'm ready, mate. You get in there, put the helmet on, boom, knock your heads together. Let's go. You know, men typically occupy those jobs because men are risk-taking, men are adventurous, and men like a bit of gung-ho. Have you ever seen kids when they're young? Boys versus girls, boys always beating the shit out of each other. It's just part of the DNA, right? But that's not saying women can't do it. You know, women in the workplace can be pretty fucking intense, right? So she could bring a different side to it. She doesn't have to be all like masculine shit, but she's got to have something about her that makes her want to kick ass. Or at least I want to see her motivations, but I don't see any of that. So that was they did the women a disservice in this film. And then this is where like Disney manifests itself. Disney's ethos manifests itself in, I can't remember her name, but she's basically a purple-headed feminist. Now, dyeing your hair back in the day used to mean you're a punk, but now, if you do that, it means you're associated with the social justice warrior movement, which is people who think they have a right to tell people what to do, miserable people who have a kind of veiled agenda where they just basically hate something and they're aggressive and they want to make everyone miserable and take them down with them. And those coloured hair people all manifest through Disney into this character. She's a purple-haired kind of feministy character. She comes in, and they betray that truth when, after her character's introduced, and she doesn't do a good job of establishing her character as a kick-ass woman, a strong, empowered woman at all. She's just pretty meh. It's like a nothing performance. And then afterwards, the guy goes, that wasn't who I expected. Is that the captain, blah, blah, the famous captain? That wasn't who I expected. Saying, oh, it's a woman. And like, hey, look at these stupid men thinking it's going to be a woman. That's just really insulting. And then she gives Poe a dressing down. Poe comes in like the stereotypical dumb male, like, who's this bird? Yeah, what you fucking doing in there? Like any man does that in the office. Like if you have a female boss, you go, oh man, fucking female boss, fucking hell, mate, I can't have that. That doesn't even happen, but that's a narrative they want to weave just so they can silence people and say, oh, you're a sexist or you're like whatever, just to shut people down in an argument. So he has this argument with her, like, oh, you're a woman, and she's like, just kicks his ass, and it's like really smug. Disney's like, yeah, let's like go women. I mean, you're making women look stupid. Seriously, just get the politics out of the movie and put a man in there, put a woman in there, but whoever you put in there, make sure their personality and skills suit the role. And that was just complete crap. And then at the end, it turns out I thought at one point they redeemed themselves because it looked like the woman with the purple hair was a traitor or something. She wanted to use the escape pods, and Poe was like, no, don't do that. And he like basically nearly stops her from doing it. And I was like, oh, well, that's refreshing, because that is equality, because you're saying that women aren't exempt from criticism. Women are the same as men, right? You know, if we look into our, you know, the humanity side of it, we're just people, and we do things that are right and we do things that are wrong. And so she appeared like a bit of a bitch like a kind of good guy at first, but then she switched and there's some cowardice, and then the guy called her out on it, and I thought, well, that's equality. That means you're not afraid of putting women in a bad light or a good light. It doesn't matter if it's a woman, it's just because of the character. But then it turns out she made the right decision and she basically let them escape. And then she committed suicide like a kamikaze by driving her ship into something to blow it up, one of the First Order ships. And she was just in there to make women look strong and empowered. And I tell you what would have worked is if you built up her character. Like, what did she want? Who was she? What was her emotion? It was not explained. She just appeared, and by default, because she's a woman, she's got to be great. That's so dull. All you have to do is give her a bit of backstory and explain who she is. I want to know who she is. I want to care about her or hate her. There's nothing there. But just being a woman's enough. That's so stupid and insulting to women. It's like, give her a chance and build her character. So there was that bollocks. And then, I mean, I'm getting really tired of this now because there wasn't much else that was good in it. Kylo Ren is a total douchebag. Snoke, he was not bad. He was one of the good things about the movie. I thought his character was pretty creepy and pretty well acted. And then basically Rey goes to Snoke, and it turns out it was all the visions that Rey and Kylo Ren were having when they were miles away were basically engineered by Snoke, and it was all a trick to get them to meet each other in his presence, and then he's going to fuck over Rey, basically. But really, I didn't fucking understand this shit. Like, there's so many plot holes, because Kylo Ren was trained by Luke Skywalker on that island, right? And then Snoke wants to find Luke Skywalker, and Snoke said he was controlling Kylo Ren's mind when he was speaking to Rey on the island, I might add, and engineering them to meet each other to bring Skywalker forth. But then, why would he need to bring Rey to Snoke to tell Snoke so Snoke could ask her, where is Skywalker? He was torturing her and asking, where is Skywalker? But he was reading their minds when they were communicating on the island that Skywalker was fucking on. And don't tell me that Snoke couldn't see what was happening on the island, because in this movie there was a part when Rey was communicating with Kylo Ren, and there's water, and there's a splash of water on the island where Rey is, and then it's on Kylo Ren's hand. So this is the first movie where during Force communication, actually physical elements are kind of teleporting and transmitting to each other, which I think is really fucking dumb, by the way. But so that didn't make any fucking sense. If Snoke knew so much as to know that he could manipulate Kylo Ren because he had a bit of light side in him to communicate with Rey and kind of be turned to the light side and bring Rey to him, he definitely knows where Rey is. He can see everything because he's seeing in Kylo Ren's mind. So he already knows where Skywalker is. Like, what the fuck, guys? The way that Snoke dies, I thought was pretty cool. He takes Rey's lightsaber. She tries to get it back, and it goes towards her hand, and it boomerangs around, hits her in the head, and goes to his side. And then he says to Kylo Ren, complete your training. As I said earlier, all you have to do is do one more thing to complete his training, which means it doesn't make any sense that Rey was able to battle him because she has no force skills. And this movie made no attempt to explain that or make up for it still. So the lightsaber he confiscated from Rey was by his side, and Kylo Ren was like, and Snoke was like, yes, I can see now. You're gonna kill the person who you hate or something like that. And actually it was Snoke he was going to kill, and the lightsaber's turning by his side because Kylo Ren is turning it with his force powers, and then he turns it on and it pops through Snoke, and Snoke dies. So that's pretty cool. Then there's a battle which is really generic. The lightsabers just don't even look believable, like most of the CGI in this movie, to be honest. But the last part of that battle where Kylo Ren and Rey fight all Snoke's minions, there's a point where there's two parts that I like. One part, Rey's arm was taken like this, and she had the lightsaber in, so she dropped it and caught the lightsaber with the other hand to kill the guy. You know, so the limit, even the lightsabers are very powerful, they're very limited, and you have to use inventive ways to kind of get your way with a lightsaber. The other part I like was right at the end, the final guy that was killed. I think Kylo Ren was in trouble, he was being choked as well, and I think Rey threw the lightsaber to him, and he caught it, and he just goes nonchalantly, switches it on, and switches it off, and it goes pum, and it just goes right through the guy's head. That was pretty cool. And then we get to the end of the movie, and I've already kind of spoiled it, but Luke Skywalker does not fucking fight. He doesn't fucking fight. Thanks a lot, you wankers. I waited through the whole first film and the build up to the first film to see that, and then I waited 2 years for this film, and then I waited through the whole fucking film, and Luke Skywalker didn't fight. There's only one scene where he turns on the green lightsaber, looking over Kylo Ren in a kind of with a murderous rage, and that looked awesome. And think how good it would have been to see him fight. He doesn't fucking fight. And what's really weird is he's not even there. He's on the island using his mind to transport himself. And so they fire him with blaster fire, and he survives it. And you're like, wow, he's a powerful Jedi. But it's because he's not really there, unbeknownst to the audience. And then they battle, and I knew this was going to happen. And Luke Skywalker, but he doesn't battle because he doesn't do anything. And Luke Skywalker goes, if you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you can ever imagine. And the thing is, he doesn't even, Kylo Ren doesn't even strike him down because he's not really there. He's just a hologram. So then in the next scene where Luke Skywalker disappears in the wind, he gets struck down anyway. It's like, man, at least make it dramatic. At least make him really get hit or something. Or at least make him fight, you cunts. Fuck me, man. Also, there's all these like stupid little penguin things in the movie. They're really annoying, and like shitty graphics on those. It's like the new children's toy they put in. They fucking milk that to death. And Yoda comes back in the movie, and I will give them credit because instead of like the prequels where they did just like a pure CGI Yoda, even though this seems to be CGI, it seems to be, or it could be a puppet, or it's like a CGI of a puppet, which would explain why it looks a bit weird. But what I'm trying to say is, the original Yoda, which is so iconic as this kind of kooky kind of voice of wisdom of Star Wars, you know, big things come in small packages, all that kind of ethos. It was like a Jim Henson like puppet, right? And the Yoda in this movie kind of looks like that, so it kind of moves a bit weird. So I thought that was pretty cool, respecting the original movie like that. Kylo Ren basically kills Snoke, which means he takes the mantle of the darkside leader. So that's where it's going. In the next movie, Kylo Ren will be the darkside leader. I mean, will Luke even be in it? Yeah, they basically killed off all the best male characters in this film. They killed off Han Solo, and they let the pussy Kylo Ren, who's not worthy to lick his boots, do the dirty. And in this, they just got rid of Luke Skywalker. And they're basically, what they're saying is they're passing on the nostalgia of the original and the momentum of the original to these new characters. And so they're saying we have to get rid of Luke Skywalker, we have to get rid of Han and all that. And that's kind of what they've done. But it's like, I don't know if it's Disney's thing, where, you know, it's like, oh, female empowerment, and like, well, fuck, all the men are kind of stupid, and they kind of are in this film, apart from Luke, but even he's kind of portrayed as a bit of a dummy, like he started this whole fucking problem. I don't know if that's true though, but, you know, my point is, they're getting rid of all the old characters, and I just felt they didn't do them justice. Luke Skywalker should have been in an epic battle, that's all I'm saying. And, I mean, it's not as bad as Force Awakens, but it's so meh. I mean, think of all the classic lines in the original. Think of all the classic moments and iconic imagery and scenes. And then look at this movie, and what is there? If this movie was an original film, let's say there was no prequels and no original Star Wars, and you saw this film, you'd just be like, you'd forget it in a day. Seriously. I feel much better now. That was cathartic. So that was my angry rant / review of The Last Jedi. I am Johnny Massacre, and I'm a music producer, a rapper, and a DJ, if you didn't know. So please subscribe to my channel for more angry rants about pop culture stuff, movies, video games, and such like. And if you want to hear some music. So, see you in 2 years, I guess, for the next Star Wars. Hope you enjoyed watching.